Here I am. This is Reverend Brian Lapierre, also known as the Plaid Pastor. And I am here today with Seth.
Hey, what's up, guys?
And we're going to walk and talk. And I haven't done this in a while, so hopefully we won't trip or fall. Actually, if you trip and fall, that'd be okay, because I'll have it on video.
Well, I'm looking at this uneven concrete. Let's see what happens.
Anyway, all right, Seth, first of all, who are you?
So my name is Seth Campbell. I am the Prevention Facilitator at Rockbridge Community Services.
All right. How long have you been doing that?
Started in February of 2018, so coming up on 2-year anniversary here in a few days.
Awesome. All right, so let's so that's who you are. Let's see here. Let's round you out a little bit. Shoe size?
Shoe size, depending on the shoe, about an 11.
Okay. Favorite teacher in high school?
Favorite teacher in high school. So that's a tie. So my English teachers, Miss Roderick and Miss White.
All right. You think they'll watch this video?
Hopefully. If I can find them, I'll send it to them.
There you go. All right. And most embarrassing thing you did in college? Legal. Please don't go too far.
All right. Gosh, most embarrassing thing I did in college.
You didn't do anything embarrassing in college,
Oh,
did you?
I did so much. See, the thing is, I don't get embarrassed easy, so.
All right, we're just going to cut that question out.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
So tell me one thing you love about your parents.
Oh, man. Well, probably the greatest thing about my parents is their support. I am kind of a big risk taker. I've lived in multiple states and helped to start several churches. So when we say, Mom, we feel like God has called us to XYZ, they're like, okay, if you're sure. So their support in Whitney and I, Whitney's my wife,
Okay.
chasing after what God has called us to do, and just allowing us to take that risk. Their support is amazing. Not just telling us or words of affirmation wise, but sometimes financially, and helping us move to and from a place. I can't tell you how many times my dad has driven across the country with us to and from Florida, a couple of places in Virginia, but their support, unwavering support, is probably their superpower.
Awesome. Mom and Dad, I hope you watch this video. And I didn't set you up for this. I just surprised you, and that was his answer. So, good stuff. All right, so grew up in the church.
Yes.
Tell me a favorite verse in the Bible. Throw me a verse that you love that speaks to you.
So kind of my life verse is 2 Timothy 1:7. For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of love, power, and a sound mind.
Okay.
I had that actually put on my car when I was in college. Biggest regret in life was getting rid of that car, by the way.
Oh, see? There you go. All right.
But yeah, so that was on my car for a long time.
All right. So you're doing this job at Community Services.
Yeah.
All right. All right, let's get to it. So you are the leader for a group called SiRPHA.
Yes.
What is SiRPHA?
SiRPHA stands for Students in Rockbridge Promoting Healthy Alternatives.
Okay. What does that mean? You knew that question was coming, didn't you?
Of course.
Good.
Well, if I can boil it down, it basically means that we're a group of students who are wanting and trying to help other students recognize some of the risks they're taking with substances, specifically alcohol, juuling, or electronic cigarettes, and kind of things with relationships, and offer them an alternative to that through kind of community service projects, leadership training, and a lot of fun. We're hoping to get more healthy alternative style things moving along.
Okay. So, promoting healthy alternatives
Uh-huh.
away from substances and abusive substances, things of that sort. So, all right. And you work with Parry McCluer High School and Rockbridge County High School.
I do.
Correct? These birds are really loud.
They are.
Man.
It's like that movie. I'm scared.
Yeah, that's right. Just don't close your eyes. You guys are about to do a summit,
Mm-hmm.
and it's March 27th.
March 27th. Friday, March 27th.
Friday, March 27th. This is where you're going to get students from both high schools together,
Uh-huh.
and they're going to dialogue on and really dig down on some of these issues.
Yes.
And they're going to try to think through some solutions or approaches to helping that. Did I get close?
Yeah.
With that? Okay. So, talk to me about healthy relationships. What does that mean? What are unhealthy relationships? Let's go maybe that order. When you think about high schoolers today and middle schoolers too, what are some things that are unhealthy in relationships?
Okay, so I'm going to backtrack the question a little bit and first establish what relationship means.
Okay.
So when we're talking about unhealthy relationships, we're talking about relationships from a student to a parent, from a student to a teacher or an administrator.
Okay.
Some of the heavier stuff is friendships between a student, or even intimate relationships like a couple who's dating,
Okay.
for example.
All right, let's wait. Somebody's in the car there. So, anyway, I'm sorry.
It's fine.
Dating relationships, parent relationships, friend relationships,
Yes.
coach relationships.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
So that's a general breakdown.
All right.
So some of the things that I've had conversations with our student about is especially come to the intimate kind of dating and friendship relationships that they're experiencing. For example, if you have, I can give you an example from my own life. I had a girlfriend that liked to put me down, and so that was unhealthy. I didn't appreciate being called some of the names that she called me. If she didn't like something, occasionally she would, clench her fist and hit me across the chest and be like, "That was dumb," and I'd be like, I don't like that. And that was a relationship that I stayed in for a long period of time that I should have gotten out of really quick because...
But you didn't know it was unhealthy at the time, did you?
I knew something was wrong.
Okay.
To call it unhealthy, probably not.
Okay. So you knew you didn't really like it or it was wrong, but you didn't know enough to know that you needed to get out of it. Or you did know.
Knew something is wrong. I knew something needed to be done. I didn't know what, and probably the most important, I didn't know how. Like, what do you say? I don't like that you're hitting me, so we're done? Like, okay, well, you can work through it, right? That would be the healthy alternative. As an adult, I'm saying that. Like, have a conversation. But I'm like, if I'm like, hey, we need to talk about you hitting me, is she going to hit me more? Or do I just let it roll off my back?
I gotcha. That's a terrible camera angle for a second. I did one of those kind of things. Anyway, all right, we're back on track. So kids, relationships, youth in particular, unhealthy relationships. Why? I mean, we can all agree that they should have healthy relationships.
Absolutely.
But why should we care? Like, what happens if they don't have healthy relationships? What do you see happening because of unhealthy relationships?
Well, I mean, if you're talking about, it's hard to come up with on the fly because there's a lot you could say to this.
Pick one. What is a choice that a youth might make that you look at an unhealthy relationship that has created the space for them to make that unhealthy choice?
Well, it makes room for more unhealthy choices that they're probably not consciously aware of they're making. from a mental health standpoint, talking about the cycle of abuse, if you have a boyfriend or a girlfriend that's abusing you in some manner.
Water just fell down on my face.
Sorry. That's funny.
This didn't mess up my hair.
The 2 or 3 still look pretty good.
Thanks. All right, let's get back to topic here. So we're talking about, you were saying something.
Yeah.
It was profound.
So
continue.
You know, that boyfriend or girlfriend is in an unhealthy relationship. Later on, if they get kind of in that pattern of living that way, it kind of becomes comfortable and you don't know anything else. And so that not only affects dating, it can affect marriage, it can affect your workplace. So like if you go into a workplace and you have a boss that's constantly coming down on you and telling you that you're worthless or you don't have value, do you stay there? Well, you shouldn't stay there. You should probably get out of there really quick and find something else. But if you've had a relationship, whether dating, friendship, or even parent or grandparent for that matter, who's constantly telling you that, even though, let's be honest, it sucks, you may stay in that as a young adult, as an adult, because you're used to hearing that. And so instead of standing up for yourself or having the confidence to know, I need to get out of here, you stay and are miserable. And that's not healthy.
And part of what you said too is the cycle. So they stay in it even though it's unhealthy, but it becomes a known norm to them.
Yeah.
That they're then going to turn around and pass on to children or other coworkers or whatever. And so you're trying to put a break in that so that they can learn some healthier habits that can then filter down and break some of these cycles.
Yeah.
Okay.
And basically since prevention services is where we're at, the prevention part of that is helping them understand what the difference between healthy and unhealthy is. For example, disagreeing with somebody is not unhealthy. It's healthy, and actually I feel like it should be welcomed because your viewpoint may be different from mine, and I may not completely agree with you, but I've learned something, and my experience has grown, my knowledge has grown, because now I understand more about you and where you're coming from, and may be able to relate to somebody else that way. And so there's a lot of times where, especially a student is like, well, you don't see eye to eye with me, so we just can't be friends anymore, and that's just not true. You just have a difference of opinion.
So on a macro level, I think about how if we only hang out and become friends with people that agree with us, that just creates the tribalism we see in society today, and people just don't talk to each other, and they start hurling insults at each other, and they separate out and don't engage. And so it's, even on that small scale, if they're not doing well with the 4 people in their orbit in high school, it can expand out and create a larger societal issue. Well, I just wanted to sound smart right there.
Okay.
So
it sounded smart.
Did it sound smart?
It was good information.
Anyway,
but I think it's small. It's small-minded. The smaller the circle that you have, the smaller your ability to think outside that circle becomes. We were talking earlier, about my college roommates. I've had Puerto Rican roommates and Mexican roommates, and lived with a couple of black guys in an 8-man suite. I mean, it was crazy because you're throwing all of these different people in a room. But at the end of the day, we're all still boys who like throwing our socks and our shoes off and smelling like a locker room together, but we have different experiences. A lot of the depth of gratitude that I have about my experiences is that I left kind of a small, not really rural so much, just as a smaller town in Maryland that's not Baltimore, it wasn't city, was that I left and I got to hang out with Puerto Ricans when I went to school in Florida.
Yeah.
And so I went home with some of them, and I had some awesome food and great coffee and, really cool cultural heritage lessons by just going into somebody's house and eating breakfast. Okay, so we'll come back to the most embarrassing moment.
Okay, here we go.
That.
Yes,
okay?
All right, here we go.
So we're in Miami, Florida. I was on a singing tour team in college.
Okay.
And my roommate on tour was a Puerto Rican.
Okay.
And so we went to his family's house in Miami to spend the night before we went to the concert the next day. And so as we were there, and I won't use the terminology I used, but let's just say my Spanglish was off that day, and I used the word for a female chest instead of saying potatoes. And so I asked for more eggs and female chest. And so that was extremely embarrassing.
Good times. All right.
But I learned something at the same time. So, I mean, I'm blood red, sweating, you know, all kinds of stuff. And they're just laughing at me because, you know, I didn't know. I didn't speak good Spanish. So that was definitely an embarrassing moment for sure. But I learned something from that.
That is awesome. We have a lot of traffic coming here, by the way. Hopefully we're not going to get
feeling scared.
Yeah, we're going to move over here. Probably wondering what we're doing right now. Hey, how you doing? So, anyway. So, hey, Carolyn. There we go. Some of our church members.
Awesome.
Yeah, you'll be talking to her Sunday.
Hi, Carolyn. We just saw you drive by us.
Hey. So, I don't know what I do with that story. I'm going to move on.
Okay.
So, I've asked you to come this coming Sunday to Buena Vista Baptist Church in Buena Vista, Virginia, downtown Buena Vista, Virginia, because we're looking at a text and we're thinking about a house divided. It's in Mark 3 verses 20 through 35. Yeah, you can tell I told him ahead of time. And Jesus is talking about a house divided, and also it's where he doesn't really reject his family, but he puts them on a shelf and focuses more on the people in front of him.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. Is that a fair assessment?
Yes.
So, we're thinking about neighbor. That's our theme in our little cycle. We're talking about neighbor this Sunday, and what does it mean to interact with our neighbor? And you and I have been talking some about a house divided. And one of the things we've talked about, we'll turn left here, with a house divided is the division of generation.
Yeah.
I'm older than you.
Yes.
Yeah, good response. Thanks. And there are folks in my church that are older than me and some that are younger than me. And how do we bridge that generational gap, and why should we? Why should we? Because so let's go to healthy relationships. And then let's talk about why that matters when it comes to bridging the gap between generations.
Okay.
Go.
Well, if you have, let's just say you have a guy and girl who are 16 years old and they are arguing, I don't know, about something that to them is like the end of the world, because they're potentially talking about breaking up. And then you have, you know, somebody who's in their 70s who's been married for 35, 40 years, and they're listening to this conversation and they're laughing going, you silly kids. That person or that couple has a lot to offer that student about relationships that they may not know, because after 40 years, you've weathered some storms.
Sure.
You know, like Titanic storms and all kinds of stuff that you could, with your story, just say, hey, if you need to talk, I'm willing to talk about that. And just listen. Listen to what the kid has to say and what they're really feeling. Because there may be more than just, I'm fighting with my boyfriend. Something could be going on at home or whatever. But there's a lot you can offer that student just by listening and finding something to attach to and go, you know, there was a time that this happened. This is what I did, and this is how it worked out. And
so
offering them some encouragement.
One of the things I'm hearing in this is it's not about correction. It's just entering into the conversation and saying, can I take a couple of steps with you guys? You know, it may not be a lifelong budding relationship, but at least be willing to step in for a moment or two and say, let's take a few steps. Let me share some of my experience, but more so, let me listen to what you're saying.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. But there's fear. There's fear in that. There's fear from the adult of, I don't understand this kid. I don't understand this problem. Or or whatever. I don't know them that well. What do they do with that fear? I know that's a tough question I just asked.
It is a tough question. I think the answer is...
Ooh, I have a response.
Easier. Okay.
I have a response. I'm going to say something. You see if you agree.
Okay.
Let your concern be greater than your fear.
Absolutely.
Let your love and affection for that kid be greater than your fear.
Yeah, absolutely.
How's that? What was your answer? I bet mine's better.
So I'm going to answer with a story. Okay. And I use this a lot, and my kids have heard this before.
Ooh. Story time with Seth.
Yeah.
Pay attention.
So if I'm walking on a train track with earbuds in,
yeah,
or headphones, for those of you who don't know what earbuds are. If I got headphones on...
You got your AirPods in, don't you?
I don't have AirPods. If anybody would like to buy me a pair, and I'm more than willing to receive gifts.
Right, whatever.
But if I'm on a train track and I have headphones on, and there's a train coming, bearing down on me at 50 miles an hour, are you afraid to save me? Or are you going to do everything that you can to save me? Chances are, regardless of who it is, you're going to do what you can to get me off those tracks. Fear is gone immediately because you're worried about my life.
This is true.
In the context of the relationship, you're hearing this kid and you're like, oh man, I really wish I could do something. I don't know what to say. Maybe they're going to say, dude, this is none of your business. And if you do, that's fine. But at least you tried to help. And timing is important. But if you know that person, you can go, hey, question, are you guys okay? Questions are really important. You don't have to offer advice or wisdom or say, hey, I can fix your relationship. It's, hey, are you okay? That's an insert.
So, and even in that moment, would it be fair to say that even if that person rejects you, you've at least shown concern and let them know there's somebody outside of their bubble,
yeah,
that is watching and cares about them?
Absolutely.
And that's pretty important. I mean, I'm thinking, so you see some of these kids more than I do, but it seems to me that it would be fair to say that part of what some of them need is just to know that somebody cares.
Yeah. And to go a step further, I think it takes somebody willing to step outside of their bubble and insert themselves in another bubble.
Ooh.
And not in a, and I want to make sure I'm clear about this. I'm not saying force, like just jump into somebody's bubble. You got to really, be filled with the spirit and discernment and have a sense of timing for this. But it's like, if you see somebody hurting and you're like, hey, it doesn't hurt. You could be in Lowe's or Walmart shopping and just see somebody, something on their face and go, hey, are you okay? Can I pray for you?
So if I walk this back to youth and teenagers, part of it too is that as adults, we should have the capacity to know how to speak into it, and we can't really expect a 14, 15-year-old to have the same ability and emotional health to know how to do that. So we've got to be the leaders in this.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. And the cool thing about a teenager is whether they say it with their mouth, they'll teach you along the way what they need if you're willing to just kind of keep your thoughts to yourself and put them on the back burner until it's time. They'll tell you what you need, because that's what I do in SiRPHA. I'm getting them to understand this is their group and they're leading. So my role is asking important questions and keeping them on the road of the direction that we want to go, based on what they're saying. That's my role.
But you have tried to be intentional about not predetermining the destination. Instead, you're just kind of some bumpers on the side to at least try to keep them moving forward and engaging with each other. But you're letting them drive this for the most part.
Like bumper bowling.
There you go, bumper bowling. So let's come back to this summit in March. So the youth, they're going to be talking about healthy relationships, Juul, the electronic cigarettes, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And they've chosen that as the issue.
Yes.
You've not assigned it to them. All right, we're going to turn right here.
That is yes, is the answer to that question, but I'm going to give a little bit of backstory as to why that even came up. So there's kind of two positions. One, because of who we are in the coalition, we're grant funded. So everything that we do has to be backed up and funded by a source that has data and statistics.
Okay.
Right? So one of the things that we do is we survey the students in the schools every 2 years to find out from survey standpoint, from actual solid data collection, what the issues are from the perspective of the students. And then we take that to our kids and say, here's what the data says, which is qualitative data. Or quantitative data, and then we take qualitative data, which is what the kids are saying, what they're seeing, and what they're talking about, and merge them together and say, okay, here's what we found on paper, here's what you're saying, now here's the lane we need to be in, now drive your car in this lane. That's kind of how we arrive.
So you try to at least get a foundation of a starting point.
Yes.
To get them going, but then once you've established some kind of baselines, then they take it from there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. My brain is getting full. I should let you know that.
Okay.
So I'm going to take Seth back to the church to have lunch. At least I hope he's going to eat with us. Well,
I'm hungry now.
You got
all this
yeah, I know, right? So we got a few minutes. What's on your heart when you think about the kids at Rockbridge and Parry, McCluer? And I know you have your job, but from a position of faith as well, because that's it's a big part of what guides you in this. Why does this matter to you? What's driving you in this? Where's your heart in this? I know that's a long question, but...
That's a long question.
So you have 2 minutes.
There's a... I mean, what it boils down to is Jesus changed my life when I was 12 years old, and since that very second, everything that I've done has been chasing after His will in my life. And apart from kids not using alcohol and being in bad relationships, knowing Jesus and being free in Jesus is the most important thing. And so everything that I do is coming from that angle, always.
Really good. You did that really well.
Thanks.
In a short amount of time. All right. Let's close out with a lightning round.
Lightning
we have
round.
to go.
All right.
Dogs or cats?
Dogs.
Goobers or Raisinets?
Raisinets.
Pizza. What are you going to put on it?
Onions, mushrooms, and bacon.
Okay. Getting a burger. How's it going to be cooked?
Ooh, medium well.
Okay. I'm going to give you a check for $10,000 to travel anywhere in the world. Not really, but if I was.
Okay.
Where are you going?
Has my 15th anniversary come up yet?
No.
Okay, we're going to Israel.
Okay. Yes, it has.
Okay. Then Australia and New Zealand.
Okay.
Are the countries, and then we really want to go to Niagara Falls.
Okay.
There's a lot of other places, but
Okay, that'll work.
Flights are expensive.
You got a day for exercise? Are you going to jog, bike, or hike?
Hike.
Hike.
Even though I love hiking.
Okay. Parry, McCluer or Rockbridge? Don't answer that. I'm just kidding. There's no. They're both equally awesome.
The clothes in my closet would say Rockbridge.
Why?
Because I was an assistant basketball coach there.
Okay. All right. But you got some blue in you, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Blue's one of my favorite colors.
All right. There you go. Fair enough. Favorite season of the year?
Summer.
Summer?
Yeah.
Okay.
Early summer, I should say.
Early summer.
Yeah.
Okay. Last time that you got your wife flowers?
Goodness gracious.
Threw that one on you, didn't I?
You did. But here, I'll throw it back in this way. I haven't bought her flowers because she would rather be out of debt than in debt because I bought her flowers.
I will check with her later to see if that...
She'll be here on Sunday.
All right, fair enough. Ice cream flavor?
Chocolate peanut butter.
Chocolate peanut butter.
Yeah.
Last TV show that you binge watched?
NCIS.
Okay. TV show that you just can't stand. You tried it, just didn't like it.
Oh goodness. TV show I can't stand. TV show I can't stand. Goodness.
No answer for that. He's got nothing.
Yeah.
All right. So.
Lots of them?
Lots of them? Okay, fair enough. What annoys you about teenagers? There's a good follow-up to this. What annoys you about teenagers?
The way that they feel like they should have everything and not have worked for it.
What do you love about teenagers?
Their passion, and their lack of, I wouldn't necessarily say fear, but their lack of concern for consequences. Because they're like, hey, this is a stupid idea. Let's go do it. I'm like, yeah,
awesome.
Okay, I'm down for that. Jumping off a
All
bridge.
right.
I'll do that with you.
Let's take the SiRPHA group itself. It's
Okay.
been meeting. So teenagers from Parry, McCluer, and Rockbridge have been meeting here at Buena Vista Baptist Church for three times now.
Yep.
Planning. Thinking about that group specifically, what about them inspires you?
Oh man.
Tell me one thing that you've been like, I love this about this group. I think this will summarize some of what we've previously talked about.
When you take the chance to be quiet and listen, their depth of passion for each other and concern for their friends is mind-blowing. They want to do good things. They want to be good together. They have goals, and they're willing to stand beside their friends, like to the death, and that's so admirable. And even for their friends that maybe their friend doesn't even know they're doing that. Like if they have a friend who is using a substance, it's like, I'm tired of my friend being hurt using the substance and they can't see it. And I think that's the most, where they're like, I've got to do something so my friend doesn't hurt themselves. Okay. And so that's just a real admirable quality, that they're willing to sacrificially say, you know what, even at the end of the day, if we're not going to be friends, at least you're alive and healthy.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm willing to deal with the fact that you hate me if you're alive. And I can walk past you and know that you're doing okay, and someone said that word, yeah, I'm good with that.
It's pretty amazing.
And they're fighters in that way. And I love that.
Awesome. So this Sunday, which would be February 16th, at Buena Vista Baptist Church, right here at 22nd and Chestnut. Seth is going to be a part of worship. We're going to do a little bit of speaking and then some Q&A. Kind of similar to this, but we're going to dig down a little bit more on a couple of things. So I want to thank you for your time.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
And so again, this is Seth Campbell. And what's your title again? What's your actual title?
The Prevention Facilitator.
Prevention Facilitator. I knew that would sound better than whatever I would have said. So he'll be here Sunday, and you should check it out. And I want you to be in prayer for him, but be in prayer for his work with the kids and this summit on March 27th. Pray. Pray that what these youth are doing is going to change lives and create some healthier habits and relationships.
Yeah.
Good deal. All right. So this is the Plaid Pastor at Buena Vista Baptist Church, and this has been Seth, and I greatly appreciate your time.
Absolutely.
And now we're going to go get some food.
We're going to eat because we're hungry.
There we go.
Walk in the circles.
So I'll just leave you there with the church.
Okay.
Peace out.